Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be part of this panel, but also be moderating. My name is Mhako. I'm a creative entrepreneur and a digital content creator, festival director for a couple of festivals in Zimbabwe. I run a festival called Amplifier, which I'm a co-creator, and I'm also part of a festival called Jibilika, and I run a media startup called earGROUND, which documents and curates creative and digital content from Africa. And I would give my colleagues a chance to introduce themselves and what they do.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Victoria Nkong I'm African, well, from Nigeria. I'm a creative entrepreneur. I've been in this creative industry for almost 2 decades now, started very early. Done a few things from talent management and booking to events and TV production and PR. I run a company called QTB Entertainment and just recently founded The Bridge. Most importantly, I would say I help passionate, talented people make a profitable career out of their passion and their talents. And I also sell Africa to the world using music and film. Thank you. Well, I produce Afrima Awards. I'm the associate producer for Afrima. Started with the Kora Awards in South Africa, did Headies Awards in Nigeria, then Afrima, and I recently did talent production for the Trace Awards in Rwanda. So I've been in that space for a bit.
Oh, amazing.
Good morning to all. I'm Percy Yip Tong from Mauritius Island. So I started, like many, to do management just by passion. And there's no university to learn management. It's learning by doing. And then I set up my record label because my artists, no producer wanted to produce them. So I help artists that have no one to work with. So my label is called Cool Trio. So I worked in Mauritius about 35 years ago. So most of the main artists in Mauritius I launched. So then Mauritius is a small African island of 60 kilometers long and 30 kilometers wide. So I extended my work to Madagascar, Comoros, Seychelles, and Réunion Island, the neighboring islands, for 20 years, worked with the main artist. And since the last 10 years, I went to East Africa. So I work with South African artists like Africa Mamas, Sheni Wagune from Mozambique, Kenya. And now since 3-4 years, I've even reached West Africa with Ghana, with my band that is playing tonight. So this is where entrepreneurship comes in. And you can see here, African music is more black and white. I'm maybe the only yellow guy, but I'm truly African because I'm a Chinaman made in Africa, which is definitely better than a Chinaman made in China. So made in Africa is better quality than made in China. So I'm proud of that. And I'm also happy to say that in the 54 African countries, 54, I've been to 37 of them. And I've hitchhiked from Cape Town to Algeria, because for me, the essence of music is going to the soul, not on the business side, to the human relationship. And success comes with human networking, with professionals, but also with artists, and to know the countries on the ground. Thank you.
Jambo, VP. They call me Benza. I work with Fifth Season. It's a creative entertainment agency based out of Sandton, Johannesburg. We are focusing on talent and content management and development. I am the Chief Creative Opportunity Creator and then also the culture investor. We've been doing this business for about 15 years based in Johannesburg. I'm originally from Liberia, spent some time in New York City, and then moved over to South Africa about 20 years ago. On this panel, I guess, the reason why I'm on this panel, I guess, you know, I'm a failed artist, but a great producer. I'm also a successful manager and a committed entrepreneur.
Oh, thank you so much. So I think I'll start with you, Benza. You know, the African music scene is going through a lot of transformation, and it's happening at a lightning speed because we're literally learning on the job. Digitalization, globalization is transforming how we do business, but this is also impacting the way artist managers have to work or are working, and the entrepreneurship around music. What's the context, or how has been your experience, and I mean, as an artist manager, with regards to artist management and entrepreneurship in the light of these new changes that are happening today?
Well, over the last 3 years, I think we work mostly with, I guess the role that we've taken on over the last 3 years is cultural investor, because we invest in the business that's the artist. So, you know, when you discover someone and you think that they have the potential, our relationship has grown more as a partnership than a record label. We did start out as a record label because we needed to fund all the aspects of developing someone. Nowadays, with just the digital changes, also with the new breed of artists that we have, because guys are quite technology advanced, what we tried mostly to do is just be the I would say the purveyor of expertise, either in legal side or from our network and from our relationship. We have the experience from what we...
How has been the transition for you, and how you managed?
So I'm old school. It was quite tough because I started selling cassettes, then selling CDs, then selling records, and now you come on the digital age. So I'm too old-fashioned to go and learn it, but doesn't mean it's not possible. I get young guys, I create jobs, and they can go to platforms and do it for me. So it's still possible. So the positive thing of digital, I don't have to send my records or to export them. Now it's cheaper, click, sell, stream. But we're in Africa. You just saw I can have the biggest 5G connection, electricity cut. So this is the reality of Africa. For example, Madagascar, I can stream my records selling in New York, but we have 5 hours electricity cut in the capital every day. And here in 10 minutes, you had 2 electricity cuts. So we depend on electricity. So this is, I always like to come to the reality on the ground. But it is positive because now we can sell it. But it changed the whole ecosystem of producing. Because now, before I had to produce, cost a lot of money to studios and everything. But the sales by streaming really touches only a small amount of people. Was before I did a concert, I could sell 2,000 CDs and I get my cash immediately. Now the streaming companies are getting a lot of money and my artists get little, unless you're a big star. So this is also the other economical reality for artists today. They can get big money by digital, but most of them get a small half-cent euro or €1 or 30 cents. So the income is harder when I sell my CDs. And this is where I tour with bands in Europe, because when I tour, I can sell many CDs. But now today, there's no CD players. Even a car, you don't have a CD player. So what do I do with my CD? So for producers now, digital is less interesting because you're not as sure as before to earn more money. So that's the but everything has positive and negative, the yin and the yang. So you must take all of them together.
Okay, we're going to dig more into that. In Nigeria, we see the transformation, we see the global impact. Just last night, they announced the Grammy nominees, and Nigeria is leading. You, as an event producer, having worked with the Kora and the Afrima, I assume that your role overstretches beyond just artist management. But how has been your experience?
Right. The music ecosystem has evolved a lot, which, I mean, Nigeria, as an example, has made it a lot easier for artists to break through, to cross borders beyond their countries, etc. That's the positive side. But on the other hand, it has made it a lot more competitive as well, because it's more like kings get dethroned on the daily basis right now. Your bragging rights 4 years ago could be that you're topping charts that no other person has topped. You're getting nominations like at the Grammys, etc. Today, with the digital age, you know, you're #1 on the charts today. By tomorrow, there's a small boy from one small country who has produced good music and has been able to push himself digitally, and he's taken #1 on the charts. So, I mean, basically, everyone now has to be on their toes. Everyone needs to bring a lot more to the table. There's no such thing as past glory anymore. And I think Nigeria is one of the African countries that has benefited the most from this whole digital advancement in the music ecosystem. There's been exponential growth. However, I like to put it out there that it hasn't been easy. This growth hasn't come from just being a country with large numbers. Neither has it come from having a government who has put money behind the creative industry, etc. It has come from a hunger, a determination to be more successful, because it has become also a lot more competitive. I mean, the exposure we've gotten has helped, but I think one thing that is sure is that the Nigerian artists and managers have now understood that you need to bring a lot more to the table for you to stay relevant. So what has happened is that this new age with its benefits has produced a lot more kings. It has seen some of the artists from the past risen a lot higher than they thought they would ever, you know, the Burners, the Wees, the Davids, while some other artists who weren't able to get with the memo and evolve quickly have been grounded. So we have some big names who have sadly gone to the bottom, and some who have gone a lot bigger. It's all about, as an artist, upping your game. Today, being an artist is not about just making music. It's building a brand that then opens you up to several other possibilities and opportunities. You know, you're in Nigeria making music that's licensed to Lion King. Davido is now doing a cameo on, Coming to America too. So there's a lot more you can do. You just need to solidly build a brand, put in the work. Even the managers right now, we have realized that you also need to up your game. Management has evolved as well. You know, there's now a need to identify who your business manager is, the person with a vision, who puts together the strategy, who charts the roadmap for you, who possibly helps you to build the team that you need around you. Because one disservice any artist can do to themselves is think that you can do it all by yourself. You want to reach how many billion people on earth, you can't do it all by yourself. You may be able to produce music now with applications, you can sell yourself on social media, that's true, but we cannot undermine the importance of having the right team and structure around the artist as well. And that's something that the Nigerian industry is embracing all the more. The artists themselves, the managers themselves have realized as well that, you know, you're not just that person who follows the artist on the road, you know, and collects show bookings. You need to look for business opportunities. As a manager, you need to understand how the digital verse works. You need to also have the right network. You need to be in the right places. In Nigeria, it's really competitive. I tell everybody, being an artist or an artist manager is, you're a professional, like a medical doctor, like a lawyer. You need to, you know, be where it's happening. I don't know how many artist managers are here today. You know, this is the issue. Where I come from, if something like this is happening, we are aware that you'll have people from all over the continent and outside coming. You know, we'll wear nice clothes and come sit here and listen to learn, but also to network. We're now very hungry because one day of sleeping on it, a small boy has come from nowhere. Ashake 2 years ago wasn't a thing. Yesterday he had a Grammy nomination. So like in Nigeria, everybody's up and running, you know, we're not sleeping.
Wow, up and running. Hold it up there, because we're going to continue that conversation, quite interesting. Last night I attended the showcase performances, and I had the pleasure and the honor to actually watch a superstar doing his thing. I'm still hooked on to your performance. Damien, so welcome.
My pleasure.
Great. For the benefit of those that are just watching you for the first time, if you could introduce yourself and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Damien Innocent Mihail, my real name on a passport. But my artistic name is Damien, so D-A-M-I-A-N-S-O-U-L. I'm a singer, songwriter, composer, guitarist, performer, and I can say a producer of my own kind of music. So, yeah, simply that.
Wearing those many jackets, how has been your experience being an artist and a producer in the face of the digital changes that are happening now in the globalization? African music is no longer only for Africa, it's now a global sound. How has been your experience?
I beg your pardon, please?
And I was asking in terms of your experience, how have you managed to transition and balance being an artist, a producer, and doing this in the digital age at a time when music has become a global phenomenon?
It started a long time ago. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even describe myself, but out of passion, dedication, you know, because I came from church background, skills-wise. But before church, I was born and grew up in this neighborhood. This is Sinza. I remember back in the days when I was young, here used to be a forest here where we're sitting. And you used to come with this, we call it manati. How do you call it manati in English? Aha, thank you, yeah. So you used to come and hunt, learning how to hunt. But back in that era, hip-hop music was the one who was taking over. So my dream was always wanted to be a hip-hop star. But then I realized that I was working on more skills, on writing skills, you know. But later, when I went to church, I learned even more. So I had almost like 7, 8 hours, you know. I never had that idle time. Back, you know, those times, I had enough, I learned enough from, you know, battling, doing freestyle. This was the culture in Sinza. Then later on, when I decided to move into another, like to church, so I become more, I dedicate myself more into practicing and all that. Then I didn't know that I was gaining more into skills-wise, and then when the market was looking for such a kind of product, I was ready, and I'm like, here I am, yes.
Wow, great. I'll come back to you. Benza, Victoria spoke about, you know, the different things and skills and roles that now an artist manager plays. How much does an artist manager have to understand or know or grasp for them to be able to manage their artist professionally and be able to create a sustainable career?
You have to know a lot. I guess I'm speaking to some people in here who are either, are there artist managers in here? Okay. Artists? Okay. All right, great. It's like any sort of, you know, you're pretty much working as the CEO of a business. So you have to understand how to generate sales. You have to have a relationship with partners. You have to understand the artist's wants and the artist's limitation and the artist, what makes the artist feel good. You have to do, you have to be the CFO of the business as well, do the accountant. You have to manage all the different, you know, actors that play a role in actually building the artist's career. You also have to understand the copyright law. You have to understand the, you know, producer split. You have to understand how to be an A&R. A&R is someone who helps collaboration, helps you put collaboration with your artists. There's a lot more, you know, especially now in the digital space. You also have to understand and have a relationship with all the digital partners. It's a constant phone calls. You're on the phone probably 80% of the time. There's a joke going around about when I'm in the studio where the artist's like, what do you do? What instrument do you play? You know, and I've always said the instrument that I play is the mobile phone. And I'm sure you guys know that, you know, it's 80% of the phone, but that phone calls at any given day can be going to 20 different people about 20 different things that revolves around your artist. So it's a CEO of a business. If you run a shop, if you're CEO of your little shop, you understand that every part of that shop adds to the overall turnover, whether you're selling a Coke or you're selling a t-shirt or you're selling whatever. It's the same thing with us. We're managing your royalty split. We're managing your publishing split. We're managing your brand activation, your influencer campaign. We're managing your booking agent. It's a lot. We can actually do a whole workshop on it.
Wow. And Percy?
Yes, what's interesting, you know, manager starts always by passion. You like the music, you like the artist, and you do it. But you have no masters in artist management. You just learn by doing. This is how it starts. But how to go to the switch of being entrepreneur is that your management skills brings you to generate money through business. So this is a whole scope of life, can take 5 years, 10 years. And this is why I fight for fair trade in music, because we will fight for fair trade in coffee, banana, but it's often a small guy, he likes his neighbor, he put his money in it, his love, and then the artist becomes big, and a big international company, Sony, takes it, and they go. And the artist often is the main culprit because he wants to get money from everywhere. So when it starts generating money, this is where it becomes entrepreneur. And the key of success of that is, as you said, you must earn money from marketing, t-shirts, from sales of your music, but also touring. And touring is also a big marketing tool. When I tour in Europe or America, I get more visibility for my artist. And then, if I'm not stupid, I sign with a big label. But I control the rights on the recording. So to come to that scope from small amateur to being entrepreneur is a big thing. And later, maybe if I have time, I'll talk to you about one success story of my band that's playing tonight at ACCES tonight. And maybe if I have time, show you how management can bring to that. Or if you want, I can talk about it now, but I'll let the others and I can talk. So come see the concert. We won the Songlines Award, which is like the Grammy Awards for world music. And this is also important. We're talking about African music. African music comes from traditional music with traditional instruments to today electro, DJs, and rap. I'm mainly in world music, but world music must adapt. You can't do traditional music and go into festivals in Europe. You must do what I say neo-traditional music. I can mix with electro and put electric effects on my traditional violin made with hairs from a horse, for example. So this is where it becomes entrepreneur, and also it brings also artistic direction, which people forget is essential in music, artistic direction.
Where I come from in Zimbabwe, one of the biggest struggle in terms of artist management relationship is that you find some artists are not ready. They are not prepared to get into like a professional setup. They're not prepared to part with money, so all the money that they make is theirs. And also not being ready to go along with the strategic vision or direction that the management comes with, which then creates a disconnect. Either people think that you as a manager you are failing, or you as an artist you are failing because you are not in sync. Victoria, how has been your experience with regards to this? Artist expectations and management expectations and...
Okay, well, back in the day when I first started, I've had the experiences you've spoken about, he's spoken about as well, in terms of the vision of the artist and the management not syncing, or artists getting big after you invest and then getting bought by other companies. And for me personally, I've gotten to a place now where I'll say recruiting an artist. I use the word recruitment because if we're going to be taken seriously by the world, by even the talents, we need to first take ourselves seriously. Every other serious sector or domain in the world has criteria before you're a part of it. The same way in my company, we have criteria before we take up any artist to work with. It doesn't matter how big you are. I don't want to drop names, but I've had like supposed A-list artists who have broken through Nigeria and even part of the continent who have approached us to say, let's work. I look at the criteria, the list that we have put together, and if you don't tick 80%, no matter how tempting it is, my team and I would not move. Like, we've had several of those. And the first thing on that list isn't even talent for us, it is attitude. If there's an attitude thick, a lot of the other things can follow. With the right attitude, you can learn, you can break through doors, your name will be mentioned by people in spaces where, but with the wrong attitude, this talent comes, makes a whole mess of what you've built over the years, makes you waste your time and your money. Look, guys, ask everyone here, talent management is the most selfless job you're ever going to do in your life. It's like babysitting. Mothers understand what it means to babysit. You know, from managing his business to his personal life, to when he breaks up with his girlfriend, to when his mother is sick in a hospital, to when, you know, his preferences and his humors. Excuse my terms, I've been through all of that. I am not at this stage of my life going to get involved with someone who doesn't understand, who is not ready for the long run, for a professional career. Every business, every entrepreneur in the world needs a professional team around them. So does the artist. You can't be surrounded by yes men. Dear artists in this room, the guy who gets the girls, buys the smoke, says yes to you, does all your bidding, isn't your manager, you're not going to move far with that career. Your manager is that person who's able to say to you, not now. Who's able to say to you, be on time for that appointment because it's a business appointment, you want to look like a serious person. That's the person you need. And then that person can now identify the rest of the people you need on your team, you know, based on the stage you are in your career, and then you grow as you go. There's a lot more: legal services, A&R, digital distribution. At the start, we say in Nigeria, follow who know road. Look for someone with track record and experience, at least a little experience. Don't get that brother or that neighbor who hasn't managed $1,000 before to help you build a career that you want to make $10 million from. There are exceptions to rules. In some cases, he may be successful. But in most cases, you want a business manager that understands business. I know you start management by passion, but we've gotten to a place where you need to sharpen up certain skills, sharpen your business development skills. You're developing a business, like Benza said earlier. And even for the managers, one of the reasons your artists are running away is your paperwork isn't tight, because if it is tight enough, the guys who are signing him will know that they are getting into trouble. If you're a fighter like myself, you fight back and get your resources. I don't want to be with an artist that doesn't want to be with me, but I don't want to throw my money and my time and my network for someone who's going to walk away just like that. You also need to brand as a manager, because what's happening is we spend the time in the background working on building big brands for these artists, but we remain here, we build them here, and then the artist outgrows you because he's evolved. You need to sort of evolve as your artist evolves. Gone are the days when a manager says, I don't need to be on social media. I'm not a social media person. What are you talking about? What language is that? Brand yourself. What's better than one brand selling a brand is two brands. Benza is currently a household name. He's a brand. He doesn't need the name of an artist for him to stand tall anymore. I don't need the name of an artist to stand tall. None of my social media platforms has any of the talent I've worked with written there. But I've been able to carve a niche for myself. He's going to be a bit worried about crossing the lines with me because he knows that he'll be stepping on several unidentified toes around the continent. So the manager also needs to evolve so that your artist can keep looking up to you as opposed to being here and then the artist is there and it gets to a point he's ashamed to refer to you as the manager, but you're doing the work behind. So it all has to do with how times are evolving. We need to evolve with it. It isn't easy, but there are some, would I say, rules or guidelines that you must adhere to. Once again, artists, there's no point hiring a team that you cannot listen to. When a businessman gets a team of professionals to surround him, it's because he knows that they see what he doesn't see. They've got a vision in aspects where he doesn't have, and they can advise him, and he pays them heavily so that they lead him. Now, you want to build a career, and you want people around you who can only say, yes, sir, you know, whatever you're doing, yeah, yeah, boss, you're not going to go anywhere. So get you someone who has vision, has network, has a fair understanding of business and networking. I mean, the rest he can learn as he goes. But when you get that person and also get the rest of the team, your lawyers, whatever, you must listen to them. Otherwise, you are destroying your own career. And as of today, music business has moved from just make music, go and perform on a stage and go. If you're able to get the right structure and build the right team, like I said earlier, music branding only opens you up to doors where you would never have expected to be in. You go to countries, you meet with presidents. The music has taken you there, but look out for opportunities in that ecosystem. What can you do? Is it real estate? And that's where your manager comes in. Because you're being the nice guy, you're nicely dressed, you're smiling and taking pictures. Your manager is exchanging contacts and speaking to people about other businesses that you can work with them on, you know, besides just music. And that's another reason why I advise be in partnership with your business manager. You want him to be invested in the business and in your success so that he goes the extra mile. You know, he's like, he has the helicopter view. You're the creative. He's looking out and tapping doors. He knows who to carry with you depending on where you're going. If you must, keep your I don't know, your errand boy around you who does all those other dirty things for you, yeah, if it makes you happy. but definitely keep the brain and the reason around you as well that can stabilize things. And when he comes in, you know that it's serious business and you sit up. Otherwise, you know, times have moved, you'll be left behind. And as for managers, please don't take up anybody who's not serious. This job is too demanding. Like Benza said, sometimes I think I'm crazy. On the plane, I'm walking until I hear it's time to land. Yeah. I'm typing messages that I feel like will deliver when I'm on ground because I need to message like 50 people at the same time. I don't want to do all that with someone who doesn't have a vision for long term.
Wow.
Can I just add a small comment?
Okay. Yeah.
What you're saying is very, very interesting because a good manager must master today the technical side with digital platform, the commercial side with distribution and sales, the marketing aspects, and also one mustn't forget the key of success is human relationships. My human relationship with the artist, if I'm too in love with him, I will accept all his negative sides and then I get busted because I was too nice to him. But human relationships not only with the artist, with the festival directors, with the journalist, with the promoters, with the record labels. So for me, at the end, you can master the technical, the legal side, the contracts, the commercial side. But if I don't have the psychological and the human relationship, I am doomed to fail if I've succeeded the whole rest. And this is where music is transmitting soul, sound, and groove, and feeling. And this is what often managers, we get the groove, get the feeling, and we forget the human side and we fail. So don't forget the human aspect on the success of any manager.
I think if I were an artist, I think I should be more frightened right now to think of all of these elements and things that have been said, from strategy to team to having a vision, having different skills. And I'm thinking to myself, how do I as an artist decide who manages me? And at what stage do I start thinking that I've outgrown this manager, I need to get another manager? And I mean, I would love to hear from you, Damien. How was your experience, you know, selecting or deciding who manages you? Because I know artists that got managed by their brothers or friends, or somebody who had a mobile phone in the neighborhood became their manager because it was easy access for them to receive bookings. And they then got stuck to that person up to such a point where they felt like indebted, like, oh, I can't let them go because they've been around, but now they want to grow their brand. How has been your experience as an artist?
To be honest, it has never been easy. I think till today I'm still looking for, you know, that one. So that's like an open check. Yeah, finding a business manager is also not easy because, for instance, our industry is very young compared to some other countries like South Africa. But it has been growing so fast for the past 15 years, like 10 years and 15 years. It has been really blowing up. From like the second generation, I can say, the third, and now we can see the younger ones also doing much better too. But we still, as a country, let me say that, let me admit this, we have so much talent, raw, that really needs a business manager to make business out of this talent. Yeah, so mostly I think myself, I've been, my journey has been actually, let me share my experience a little bit. Back from uni, and then the only thing that I had was just music and the skill, but I didn't know how to make money out of it. And as I said that before, that I came from a church background. It was more of a service, not a business. Now, you're already grown up and, you know, you have to take care of, you know, stuff around you, you know. Even like you want to go to the studio, you need to find a fuel or you need to find a bus fare to get there. There comes now things started working, you know, like I need this, I need that. So you're looking for a ways to facilitate to your either your dream or your goal. So on my experience, I had friends who are really intellectual, like smart to business. And when I got back, I started in Uganda, and then one of my friends, Scott Kelvin, who was working as a senior in one of the one of the big hotel, Secret Hotel. And then he brought us together, me and other friends. He picked the best, and some of these guys, I'm still working with them till today. He said, listen, we need money. And there is a niche here in Dar that don't go to other places, you know, they don't listen to other music. They're particularly, they love jazz, blues, some classic, soul, and we can do this because most of the guys, they're not doing this. They're doing mostly tradition, Lingala kind of sound, which is the most popular sound in Tanzania. It has been and is still. So we moved from this guy affected us with his, he came with a strategy because he had a business background. He started that, and he's one of the senior, you know, at that, whatever. So he was guiding us that you come with your instruments, everybody. We will borrow some money. We'll get the equipment, and then we're going to do audition to some of these places. And then we will be making, out of everything that we're going to make, we'll save 30%, which 10% is going to take care of our transport, 10% is going to take care of our equipment in case anybody like cut the string or whatever, and then 10% we're going to serve it in case one of our members get any like accident or whatever. So we started that way, and that's how I started learning business, by being in a business, by making small from like 300,000 Tanzanian shillings, which is about $120 or 30, you know, and moving from there to 500 to 1,000 to be able even to start my own business, and standing as a solo artist, like independent. But it has never been easy, you know. Always you have to go and seek for, you know, people who have more experience, like lawyers, people with understanding of accounts and all that. So finding a real business manager, mostly in our country, it's really hard. You just find friends, people are rolling together, people who doesn't have even understanding on what they're doing, but they're just there to push. But they're counting because they're doing something to push you forward. You find people that they have passion with you and stuff like that. And things move, but I think it has been a really challenge, you know. Let me be honest with that, yeah.
Sorry, please, can I just say something to him like directly? What I think the mistake you may be making is you're looking for a business manager only within your country. Today, music is global. As a matter of fact, you could be singing Chinese. I don't need to understand the language. If the music is good, I'll embrace it. This is what's happening. So you might want to try looking for a business manager outside your country. The thing is, what the person primarily does is strategy. If the person has experience and has recorded some successes in other countries, the template isn't much different. I say Africa is one big house. They only created imaginary borders for us. So find someone who has track record, who can put together a short-term plan, a long-term plan, advice on who needs to surround you. The person doesn't need to follow you everywhere, every day. You know, you can have a road manager who does the follow-around part. And if you have a visionary person as your business manager, you know, he can drop into your country once in a while. He knows, he has network, he has people skills, he knows who to network with. Lastly, your target audience is in your country. That's a big error. right now your target audience is Africa and the world. So stop being limited by what they will listen to in Tanzania or not, and focus more on what the world is listening to currently and how you can push yourself beyond borders. Push, for God's sake. You owe yourself that responsibility. You owe your team of friends who are supporting you a responsibility to push and move them with you as you grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But I've been lucky, you know, in my career, you know, to meet really different people. But luckily today I have got Benza, and then we managed to work with one of the artists that he managed, who created one of the most very big song in the country, Mhako. It's such an honor, but we've been discussing, you know, we've been talking, at least things were on a, you know, on a process. But also, our local industry also, we are also very privileged in Tanzania in terms of number consumers for a long time. Maybe so many people haven't started about this industry, but it has made a lot of people also reach in the biggest number. Or even when you go to the statistics, which shows the revenue that comes out of the industry, like the entertainment industry, is really ridiculous, because we have biggest consumers even in our neighbor countries like Congo, Kenya, Uganda, because of Swahili. So, and it has really also made other artists from other countries also bigger. So I really didn't want to take it for granted. I wanted to be grounded first, and now I'm ready to spread my wings. Thank you.
Wow, great. I hear passion, I hear team, but I've not heard much about the money. As an artist manager, do I need to have money because the industry needs money to move? You know, is it possible to just have a brilliant team and make things move without having the financial backup? At what point does money come in?
You need money. You definitely need money. I mean, it's always been our philosophy that we want to be an independently successful business. So money has been generated by the work that we've been doing. And I must say that I'm quite proud, and that not only have we sustained a successful business for 15 years, we've also made 3 millionaires. Our business partner, our artists, we've made 3 billionaires over the last 15 years. One of them has been the late, great AKA, you know, rest in peace. He became a millionaire, and now his daughter doesn't have to work a day in her life. College is paid for, everything is sorted out. We also work with Trezor. Now he's based in California writing for Drake. He's also a millionaire. We're now currently working with Mhako. So all our business partners have become successful as entrepreneurs. And it has to do with us investing in them. So that's why I say we are a culture investor. We invest in them. Where we get the money from is our own hustle. Sometimes it's loans. Sometimes it's, in the beginning it was family. You know, and then just the turnover of music you make from royalty sales and everything else. Yeah, that's, you're gonna need money. And sometimes it's about passion and love, and mostly it's about passion and love, because even working with Damien there for the Mhako song that we did, which was the #1 song on, what's the #1 for a while, right?
Yeah. For almost two years or one year and a half.
Yeah, it was #1 for that long, and we did an Amapiano album with him, and we just connected on love and passion. There was no transfer of money. It was, we love, you love your style, we like what you do, and we're gonna help you create music together. And yeah, I'm hoping that one of these days I'll be saying we've created another millionaire.
Pleasure, brother.
Great. Apparently, we're running out of time. We've got 5 minutes, and I think it'll be great to have those with burning questions
Can I quickly talk about the money business?
Okay, yes.
Because
whilst she's getting a
talk
microphone.
about how I succeeded. Because money, all artists dream to get money. But when they start, they just start because they like the music, they like creating. How creating is generated in money? The billionaires is less than 1%, that get rich. Most of them, I tell them, go and work. They work as a waiter or other things and do music next to it. And some of them break even, but the manager also has to earn a living. So I give you a success story, how I manage, and this again to hold the scope of it. So it's the band from Ghana, and I come from Indian Ocean, Mauritius, so that's very far away. So I need money just to fly there. So the whole story started by a terrorist attack in Ivory Coast. And I was like in my 5-star hotel, conference speaker for the biggest music art market. It's visual arts and performing arts, not only music. And then Al-Qaeda came and did the terrorist attack at the hotel, and they killed the director of the Goethe-Institut, a lady that generated music in Africa. In fact, she's the lady with Siemens that started music in Africa 12 years ago in Joburg. So when she was killed, and the only European lady killed by the terrorists on the beach, I was so depressed, I left my 5-star hotel. I left my driver with my car, and I took local transport to go to Accra to my artist, One Love, who's a great artist there. Accra is a huge city. I got depressed. So I went to the north, to the border of Burkina Faso, where his Kologo, traditional guitar player, lives at the border in a farm. So there, since 3 years I was touring with him with One Love, he told me, produce my solo album, produce my solo album. And it's just when I was living in his place for 2 weeks in a farm, and I couldn't refuse him, I decided to produce the album that was recorded on the road in Uganda, in Rwanda. And I did the album, and he said, before touring in Europe, let me tour in Ivory Coast, Ghana, Benin, and Togo. And when we toured, I didn't generate money, I lost money. And I left the record in a drawer for 3 years in Mauritius. So I lost a lot of money. Then after 3 years, I went to London. I brought it to Strut Records, which is a big record label with K7 in Berlin. And I did an album of old records of 1960s, and he did a compilation. I just put it on the table, and he listened and said, wow, I licensed your album. So I kept the rights, I licensed, and as is international, streaming sales went up. DJs in Tokyo, in Rio bought it. I started generating money, and of course the media took it, and I won the Songlines Award, which is, like I said, the Grammy Awards in world music. And when we won that, Peter Gabriel Woolmad contracted us, and a big record booker in Womex, which is a bigger thing, booked us. I said, wow, lottery. But the reality, when a booker, international, big one, he books Hugh Masekela, Ladies Pispak Mambazo, we are just a name in his catalog of 20 groups. This is the reality that you must know, you managers. And he gave me only one date, Woolmad. And thanks to my networking with friends, and this is where networking is important, I had 17 concerts from my beach in Mauritius. I got 70 contracts, and I did my tour myself. And this is where money generates. Because streaming, you get your royalties at the end of 6 months, at the end of 1 year. The African artist has to feed his family immediately. So when we tour, each artist came with 3,000 euros back, and we sold for 2,000 CDs and records. And he gets the money immediately. So this is also a thing of cash flow. An artist has to get the money instead of waiting for streaming. This is the other reality of music. And this is the success story. Wow. So I thank you very much for that.
That's amazing.
Just something about the money, right? 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you needed to, first you need the money. Money is like the oxygen of any business, so you need the money. We can't undermine that. But some years back, a decade ago, it was tougher for an African artist to get access to money or to investors or financiers because nobody really believed in this industry. In my family, I was written off as a joker when I started out in the music industry. Right. I remember when we were doing the first P-Square African tour, we had to keep an image at the time, so I was doing so much to package them, and we're going hungry day to day as we're going countries. But today, African music has gotten enough attention globally, even within Africa, where people now believe and understand that it is profitable business. So again, it boils back to getting the right material together, trying to get with the right team. Because to tell you, as at today, there are more foreigners, major labels, local investors looking for the right way to penetrate the music industry in Africa because they've seen that it's its own oil well by itself. So when you have the right material and you're with the right people, you know, you will get people who are willing to invest in your business. I mean, it seems tough, but you can. Lastly, every artist who's successful, or every of us creative entrepreneurs, we owe ourselves a responsibility to help each other. It's an industry where you must show love. Link up collaborations, help people, put people out there, sometimes for free, like Benza said. I can't count how many collaborations across the continent we have done without charging a dime once we see prospects. So there are people like that. Just reach out to the right people, but you sure need the finance. You may not have it, just find a way to get with people who have it. The Olamides of this world, partnering with Empire, making new kings, all of that money isn't his own money. It's not YBNL's money, but he gets with a big organization that has the funds, that believes in him because he's built a success story, and then they then finance other younger artists. So there's a lot of that. For time, I won't want to take time.
There's so much money in Africa, so much possibility around collaborating and working together. From how all the money was made here, you find that there was the power of collaboration. You had raised your hand for a question. I don't know if she could get a microphone. Just introduce yourself and keep it brief.
Hi, I'm Joss, currently based in Tanzania, between Tanzania and Canada. So I've experienced the music industry here and there, and I'm happy. I think this is really commendable of music in Africa to have ACCESS, a free music conference available to everyone, and the fact that you've had it 2 years in a row in Tanzania. What can I do to convince you to have it in Tanzania again? Isn't this a wonderful forum? But my question is directed more specifically to you, Victoria, but really open to everyone on the panel, and it's more regarding women and women in the industry, specifically artists. We're fortunate enough to see a lot more women behind the scenes these days in management and events, etc. Although we know there are unique challenges that women face as artists in the industry, be it that they feel like it's a big boys club, be it that you know, they have challenges in balancing family lives, you know, when to have children, and you know, how to balance that act, considering, you know, artistry is seen as a big hustle, maybe the perception that women may have, or the expectation of how women should brand themselves, how to compete within an industry, how to compete within the industry. You've spoken a lot about teams. However, further to that, specific and uniquely to women, what advice do you have to women artists to stay in the game, to rise in the game? We've seen a lot of successful women artists out of West Africa, but in some of the other regions, it's still a challenge. So open to all of you, perhaps first to this strong female presence in the music industry. Victoria.
Thank you. This is my favorite topic. And this is the reason I started doing public speaking at some point, because some women need to stand tall and say to other women that it is possible, right? So I'll say to the women out there, we know, whether it's said out loud or not, that it's a bit tougher as a woman to chart a path, carve a niche, and be successful in this industry for obvious reasons. In Africa, like you said, there are expectations between family, how a woman should be. In some cultures, you shouldn't even speak too loud, you should just exist, you know what I'm saying? And then there's the other part where a lot of people who should hold your hand and take you there want benefits, immoral benefits, etc. But for what I say to every woman is, I would rather not be a victim. So I would make lemonade with my lemons. These challenges are the reasons why I would push more. I would stand tall, I would work twice as hard as the men, and eventually everyone who slept, like who would, I would say, minimized me because of my gender, would eventually understand the value that I bring to the table. And if you turned me down this time because I didn't give you those sexual favors, by the time I have imposed myself enough, you wouldn't need the value that I bring, and you would come back. And I'm not talking theory, I'm talking the story of my life. You know, being there, done that, faced all of these challenges, been talked down on, etc. I have people who 5 years ago would have said, oh, okay, you lose if you can't play the game. And I'm like, yeah, you're losing, not me, and I walk out of your door. 5 years later, you're calling me in January to book me for a gig in October because I have worked really hard to ensure that I bring value to the table. And one more thing for the ladies, if you think you're going to sell your femininity or your body to make it out there, you're lying. Every day, prettier girls are coming into the industry. You know, you're going to reign for a week or two in that space and they'll move on to the next and on to the next. So it's just about building value, being an emancipated woman. I'm not going to stay here and complain about all the challenges women face. I'm going to identify those challenges and see how to work around it to ensure that I'm not a victim, but I'm a voice that helps other women. And then I say to both the women and the men, we all have a responsibility to try to hold the hands of the women up. It has been proven, forgive me for sounding like this, that women are better at some of these things that we do in the industry than the men. But because of our ego and our culture, we'd rather put them down. You know, if you're a man in a position who has ever shut the door on a woman because she didn't play ball or because she's a woman and you think women should sit behind, you need to do better. You know, you need to actually do better for the sake of the continent and this industry that we love so much, because there's a lot of value and there's a lot, I think we complement each other, women and men. There are aspects of this business that the women will handle better and there are aspects that the men will handle better. But please, all my ladies out there, do not become small because people expect you to be small. Soar, stand tall, but work at it. You know, it's been a very busy period for me, but I had to take out 1 hour tonight to prepare this session. I'm the only woman amongst the men. I cannot afford to come here and be a pretty face without brains. Because if I do that, it will be a disservice to all the other women who probably came because they saw a woman. If I'm able to make a bit of sense amongst the men, then another woman out there will feel like coming out and also, you know, standing tall. Thank you.
Yeah, powerful. You wanted to add something? Okay. Yes.
Personally, I don't do any difference between man and woman as a manager concerning talent. Talent is the main thing. But I can't lie and say there's no difference between man and woman. When I tour, the man, I must watch out, he's drunk or he's gone with a lady, but the woman artist is going shopping, so it's a different type of stress. But the reality is, with a woman, women artists have to be pay more attention, because she is a mother and she has children, which a man artist doesn't care, the wife is thinking of the artist. So sometimes I bring the child on tour so that she feels well when she tours. She's also pregnant, that men don't have these realities. And these realities, as a manager, I take care a lot of for the specific of a woman as a human being, and these people forget about that. If men was pregnant, bearing about, you see all the men outside, they complain. If she had to give birth, the pain for toothache, they cry. But if they had to, so congratulate all the women artists, you're a great woman in the world.
Okay. Yeah, I can add to that. You know, getting into this business, I was actually convinced to get into this business 15 years ago by 2 women. Who convinced me to get into this business, to invest into this business. So I wouldn't be here without those 2 ladies who convinced me. One is still with me. She's still my co-partner, and she's still the chief financial officer of the business, so I'm still working with her. And then also in our small business, in our staff, is 50% women. So we have managed to be successful with definitely the care and the attention and also the business aptitude of women. So I'm all for it.
Oh, great.
Sorry, can I just add that women, we need to create a network of working women in the industry to support each other? Because a lot of times people look at our sex before our capacity. But if we form a bond together, we are able to push greater boundaries and make things happen. Just my 2 cents. Unity
is power. There's a question at the back there. There's a hand at the back there. There's a question. And then from there, we'll take you, and then I think there's one more, and then we're done. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Kedmuni Mapana. I'm the CEO of the National Arts Council of Tanzania. First of all, I want to congratulate the panel for this very wonderful discussion that's taking place. As the CEO of the National Arts Council, I've been working now for a year, and before that I was working at the University of Dar es Salaam. So what you are talking there, actually, I'm experienced from the government point of view, as we are trying to take the talent and make money from it. So I have two things to make. One, from the discussion that was going on. When I listen Daniel So's approach, it's more of talent, skills, passion. And from this end, I'll see the management, entrepreneurship, making money. So you have the artists who are actually just want to grow their skills, the passion, and you have people who want to make money from that talent. And always my advice to artists and managers, managers, is there any one day that you went to where this artist is rehearsing or recording in a studio just to experience of what the artist is really passionate about, making music and not really making money? And the artist, have you artists as well, make your job or your duty of trying to understand, to learn what is going on around in terms of the laws are governing the industry, management skills. Because last 1 year, in my office, there are about 12 complaints from the artists, from the record managers, from the managers. They want the National Arts Council to sit as a mediator. There are a lot of complaints coming in because the artist does not obey to the contract. Because the owner of the record label came to my office and saying, this artist, we agreed he's going to make an album within 1 year, and he has not done that. So coming to the government, try to see how can we help on this. So you too, from the talent and from the money making, how do we come together? How do we break this gap that is there? So my comment and my suggestion is, those who are coming from business point of view, please try to understand the artist and the way they are talented, because they are just passionate for talent. Nothing else. So let's come together and go to their studios, to where they rehearse as well, for you to experience. So that is one. Two, and I'm going to finish up. Daniel So said, yes, in Tanzania, the industry has been growing tremendously. And we have some figures. Last year, the creative industry in Tanzania was the leading sector towards contributing the economy of the country by 19%. I have the data in my office as well. Last year, over 400 artists got some gigs to perform abroad. And they made about $6.5 million. And we as government, we are saying, wow, we want really to invest to this sector as a government. And managers or whoever is doing, if you did a little bit of research about regulations of Tanzania that are really governing the creative industry, one of a very, very, very crucial is kind of a law that says each artist from abroad who comes in Tanzania has to pay an entry fee as an artist. It's about $700. One artist coming out from Tanzania to come inside to do anything, whether it's a workshop, whether it's to perform, you have to pay a fee of $700. Last year when ACCESS came, the National Arts Council of Tanzania said, we are going to waive this fee and we want ACCESS to take place in Tanzania. The same this year. We waived that regulation of taking money from artists who are coming here. We said, no, we want ACCESS to take place. So to speak, that the government of Tanzania, we are working so hard to try to invest and make this industry continue to grow. and making more jobs for artists. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Great support from the government there. I hope other African countries take a leaf with regards to supporting the creative and the cultural industries and seeing that growth that's coming through monetary-wise, but also just from a social perspective. Artists do the most. They keep the population, entertained, but at the same time, mentally, stable. There was a question at the back there. Okay. There, and then we go back. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
I'm Cassio Cristoval from Angola. I'm representing CandaStream and Audac. CandaStream is a music streaming service, and Audac deals with the artist publishing and copyrights for the country. My question for the panel is pretty simple. How do you guys as a manager deal with the language barrier? Has Ms. Victoria suggested that probably the artist should try to go outside of his circle and look for managers elsewhere? But how the language barrier would make this process difficult, or how you guys as managers would try to make this process easier for any artist from any country to approach you guys, for you guys to manage their content and so on. And the second question there too, and the second one is also as a manager, how easy or maybe how hard it is to deal with the artists with the one-hit wonders, we would say, and how that would try to push the artist to be more innovative and take advantage of every tool and everything that you guys have to offer for him or her not just settle down. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know who's taking up that question.
I can take it first.
Language barrier is easily overcome when you are an English-speaking African artist. It's very hard to play in France or French-speaking countries, but you just have to work with a booker from France or Belgium or Switzerland, then you can go through. But it is true that if you are multilingual, well, my real job, I'm simultaneous interpreter I translated for Thabo Mbeki, so I speak fluent English, French, and German. So that helps me a lot. But if you don't have that, you can still overcome it by working with French companies, Portuguese companies, and most Germans and Dutch, they speak English. So that's not really a problem to stop you. A manager will always find a solution, and today with internet, you just click, you can even speak Japanese if you want. And I give you an example today in China, Michael Jackson and Bob Marley are singing their own songs in Chinese with their own voice through artificial intelligence. You see Bob Marley singing Chinese, One Love, and it's his voice, or Michael Jackson Beat It. So language today is no more a problem because of artificial intelligence.
And I can take on the one-hit wonder question. Yeah, one-hit wonder, that's a major problem there. Yeah, it's not a career builder at all. We actually try to stay away from one-hit wonders, because when that happens, the mind state of an artist changes drastically and so fast that the relationship changes like in a blink of an eye. So it's very concerning. I think you actually know, if we think back that those people who've had one-hit wonders, they're most likely not around anymore. They don't have a career anymore, right? So the thing that changes is like, they make a lot more money. They didn't go through the hustle. They feel like they are actually more worthy than everyone else in the team, even down to their DJs or their band members or their managers or their makeup artists. It just changes everything. So there's certain times when you develop in the artist catalog, music catalog, and you find like, oh my God, we have a hit. This is the song. This is gonna be the big song. But we don't put that song out first because we understand what it means to put the big song out first. So we will start perhaps building a career, building some collaborations, some features, going through the hustle, going through the struggle of what it is to actually appreciate everyone in your team. before we get to the major hit. It's just also, we've seen it in the past, being in this industry for the longest time, how one-hit wonders never sustain a long time career. So we try to avoid it. Maybe make it the third, or maybe even the fourth song that becomes that major hit. Then you can work and manage someone's attitude or someone's expectations.
Well, thank you so much. You wanted to say something?
No, I wanted to add to it, but if there's no time.
Okay.
Okay. I was just going to say to what he said. First, my perspective differs a bit from Benza's, and it's the fact that there's no formula to guarantee what song is going to be a hit. Right? There are songs that we have created with artists with a lot of expectation, and you send it out there and put all the machinery in place, and it falls flat. But what we do in our case is that before we release any artist officially, like launch an artist officially, you've got to go record. You've got to be able to send me a minimum of 10 to 15 songs. Out of those 10 to 15, the team would listen and maybe find, even if it's 2 or 3, that seem good. That way, there's some guaranteed continuity. So when the first song is a hit, hopefully you begin to get bookings and dates. You may not have time to go back to the studio, but we already had songs, we're already working strategies on, etc., so that as there needs to be a follow-up to that first hit. Like I say to artists, once you have one hit, it's almost like a trap. The next song needs to either even up or surpass the previous. Because if you've built this level of expectation and visibility, you've started charging numbers to perform, and then your next song is not good, then it comes like this. So we say record as much as possible. We have a library of songs. We plan for like the 3 best that we know, so there's succession. Again, that's why I really do not want to work with an artist that is not looking long term. It's a waste of my time, because what happens is that you set a trap for yourself, you get one big song, you get known everywhere, you don't have a career yet. If an artist hasn't been able to produce at least 3 and sustain 3 hit songs and sustain a career beyond a certain number of years, forget it, you don't have a career yet. Don't be confused. You've only just set yourself up for depression, because now you think you're a star. People know you. You can no longer hustle on the street like before this hit. You want to maintain the lifestyle that you've tasted that is so sweet, but then you don't have the career to support it. So then you go into depression and substance abuse, etc. That's why for me, the goal is work with people who are looking long term, who are able to work within a structure. So when I say it's recording time in your calendar, you need to go sit down, do the music. We will support you as much as you can. Bring us music that we can see the ones with prospects, and then we can schedule them so that there's some sort of continuity for you, as you go. Again, sometimes no matter how hard the management works, if the artist isn't ready, you cannot want more success for a person than the person wants for himself. You cannot, as a manager, get on stage and perform for an artist. So you can do all the work that you want, and if the artist isn't ready to follow with you, you'll be there and you're pulling a horse that isn't willing, and it never yields results. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. It's been awesome. It's been great. I hope you've been empowered and enlightened. Thank you to all the panelists.
A last word of invitation, because you talked about the story of Alosman, how we succeeded and won the Songland Award, and thanks to that award, ACCES invited us to Tanzania. So tonight, Alosman from Ghana is playing at 11 o'clock, the only band playing with only 100% traditional instruments. So you're all welcome tonight to see that.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. A round of applause for them. Mhako, thank you so much for moderating this panel.